people, and this is different for everyone, but I like when people are good follows. You ever have someone be like, yo, like I followed you ain't following me back? Have you ever had someone say that to you?
No.
Oh, it's not fun. It's not fun when they do that because they will approach you because they don't have proper etiquette, and they will just be like, hey man, I followed you, like you ain't following me back. This isn't weird for there is money
At all.
to be
I want all of them.
But you're in front of microphones, so this is kind of
a lot.
It's kind of just like your place. It's just not in this capacity.
Correct.
Thank you very much for being here. And okay, so we have so much I feel like we could get into, but I want to slow it down
scared.
already. So you go by Lena Storie.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Let's start there.
Oh my God. Okay. So I've been singing or pursuing music for a really long time, since childhood. And I went with the name Lena Storie, which I feel like is such a mouthful to say. Lena Storie. It's like you can barely get it out. Like,
Okay.
It's the consonant sound.
I don't think it's too. Oh, hold on 1 second. I forgot one thing. Hold that thought. Forgot one thing.
With this.
Podcast wouldn't last very long if I didn't plug up this laptop.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm gonna have all
kind of important.
10 minutes of recording before this thing blows out.
Can this like flex out?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, like you just have to flex out more that way.
Mm-hmm. Something to say back. There you go.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, this is good. As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, I can definitely hear you. We're good.
Great.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Please.
Okay,
continue.
so Lena Storie.
Lena Storie. Because you feel like it's a lot to say. I don't think that it's that difficult. I think Lena Storie is fine.
Lena Storie.
When people don't can't just take times to learn, take a little bit of time to learn someone's name, or that is a different ethnicity or something. Then it's just like, oh, your name is Samon Chai? We're gonna call you Sam. Right? Like when people do that sort of thing, I'm just like, you can just take a little bit of time. Lena Storie is not difficult. I think it's a great name.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I came up with that name in 2011, and I just felt like my previous moniker didn't fit me anymore because I was using Nisha as my singer's name.
Yes. And because your name is Tarnisha.
It's Tanisha.
Tanisha.
The R is silent and it's there to trip people up.
Wait a minute.
So I can kindly explain it. And I've been doing this since I was in kindergarten.
The R is silent.
Yes.
Okay.
Because my mom is from a town in Southern Virginia, and my siblings, who are 20 years apart from me, older than me, they have regular names. And
what are regular names?
My theory is that my parents, because I have a brother named Michael and I have a sister named Rosalind, and my parents, by the time that they had me, they were living in DC for a couple of years. So I feel like they had gotten introduced to some more urban names.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that's.
And they were like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, Tanisha sounds pretty. But with a silent. And when I asked my mom, why did you put the R? And my mom has an even higher pitch voice than me. And she's like, because I just wanted it to be different. I'm like, Mom, you succeeded. Hard.
Yeah, that's a deep thing. People really, really want their children to be special. Mm-hmm. And you look at you. You came out special.
Yeah.
So what does pursuing music at a young age mean? What do you remember? What were you doing?
All right.
Singing Jackson 5?
So I used to get teased that I look like the Jacksons. Someone just said this the other day. So my childhood friends, they used to tease me, Brittany and Monique. Shout out to Brittany and Monique. Still love them to this day. So we had, how I found out that I loved music was we started this Spice Girls group.
Oh, okay. I remember the Spice Girls.
Right. And so.
What was your favorite?
All of them.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
My favorite.
All of them? There wasn't one that stood out of like Scary or Posh, Baby.
Okay,
What was the other one? Sporty?
Okay, all right. Scary Spice, Posh, and then Ginger.
Wait, Ginger? Who the fuck is Ginger?
Ginger Spice. Jerry Hollowell.
Wait a minute.
She was the redhead.
Which one did they call her? So that was Sporty?
She was the...
Weren't they? Because they had 4 names for them for like...
Ginger Spice.
Ginger?
I think it was.
I think that's just a spice.
Exactly.
No.
Sporty Spice, Scary Spice. She was Ginger.
There was Baby and then Sporty.
Yes.
So who
and
was...
Posh.
But there were only 4. That's what I'm saying.
There's 5.
Oh, they're 5. I'm forgetting one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she exited the group for whatever reasons.
Okay,
I don't recall.
Okay. When the Spice Girls movie came out, though, she wasn't a part of that.
Yes, she was.
She was?
Yeah, she had the
shit.
red
I gotta
hair.
go back. Okay. All right.
Yes.
My fault. I didn't mean to go on this Spice Girls dive.
So we had this group and we would have these rehearsals was our playtime. We had these rehearsals at my house or their house. And we would put on these playground performances. And
that's nice.
And I kind of took it like real seriously, like we have to practice, and like I took it more seriously than they did. But they supported. They always supported. And then I met a lady in the neighborhood. Her name was we called her Miss Peaches, and she used to play. My life is so crazy.
All right.
She used to play kickball with us, and she had a daughter that we used to play with, and so they would host these slumber parties, and so we would go, and like she like taught me how to like write music and stuff. So I just kind of held on to that skill and just like built upon it. So
how to write music. Like, what does she do to teach you how to write music?
She taught me song structure. I mean, I can't totally attribute it to her, but she taught me like song structure and like changes. And then I like kind of went on my own and studied like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Mariah Carey and how they like wrote their music. I would say they are my biggest influences.
Mm-hmm. So you listen to who say their names again?
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Jimmy Jam. Who's this?
Jimmy Jam.
Jimmy Jam. I don't know who this is.
And Terry Lewis. So they are responsible for a lot of Janet Jackson's early work.
Understood. Okay.
So like Rhythm Nation, Control. Yeah.
Okay. And so what does studying that look like? I know that this may be difficult.
Oh my God, I've never answered these questions before. So this is good. So, I don't know. So like reading the lyrics, like studying the words, listening to how the changes, like, so you have, in some songs you have like a first verse, you might have a pre-chorus, you might have a hook, you might have like just different songs have different structures, different key changes, how it changes, breakdowns, lyrical content.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. And so you're just looking at these things, and are you then trying to implement them in your own stuff, or okay.
Yeah. And then like they have a very specific songwriting style, and I guess I just kind of like picked up on it early. I mean, I didn't have this verbiage when I was 12 years old,
right?
But yeah.
Okay. That's fun. I mean, that sounds like a whole lot of fun. I'm glad that you're doing that. You seem like you really enjoy it. Like to what percentage, like what's the ratio between the music that, because you do a lot of covers, correct? The ratio between the stuff that you do covers of versus the stuff that you like to write. And like, how much do you like to write at this point?
So I really haven't been writing a lot lately. Man, when I was like a teenager, I could like churn out like 4 songs in a day, just straight off of melodies in my head. Just because I didn't play any instruments, it would be strictly in my head. But now, if I'm doing like open mics or I'm in 2 different bands, we do a lot of covers. But I am working on my first recording project, my first EP. I don't have a release date yet, still working on it.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay.
But a lot of covers.
I'm not even gonna put that sort of pressure on you of like, when's it coming out? What do you like? What's I do want to know okay. So when did you first start on it? Like, how long has this been in the mix?
Child, it's so many delays and so many challenges.
Yeah, life is like that. I know.
Yeah, I've probably wrote the first song maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
And just finished recording it like a year ago.
Oh, so you have
I have songs finished.
Okay.
Yeah, I have them archived.
All right. What is the... It seems like you're saying everything so carefully. Like, what is holding you back, do you think?
Just time. There's not enough time in the day. Like, so I just recently moved, and then I'm in 2 bands, and then I also work.
Thank you again, by the way, for making it here.
Yeah.
Like, for taking that time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So there's just not enough time in the day, and I'm also trying to, make time for my regular life, because I have to live life to have something to pull experiences from, to have something to pull from. So, that's,
Do you ever find yourself looking for something so that you can grasp and for like inspiration from it? Like putting yourself in certain situations so you can try to, like, I think there's an opportunity there. Like, I might be able to get some inspiration out of this one.
No. Okay. So what I do is if I ever feel like I'm not writing enough, or if I feel like I'm not inspired or I want to be inspired, I'll just completely stop trying, and then I'll go live life, or I'll watch a movie that I haven't seen before that I think might invoke some type of emotional response, just because I tend to write from a very autobiographical place, very personal, very introspective. So I'll start listening to something that I haven't listened to. And then sometimes what'll happen is I start getting like these short span of obsessions. So right now I'm currently obsessed.
I love it.
I'm currently obsessed. So, Kanye West album, Graduation, and he has that song, I Wonder. Okay. So I just learned where that sample.
And I wonder.
Exactly.
If you know.
Yep.
What it means. Yeah.
That song. Exactly. So I just learned where the sample came from. And so I started going into this. I don't know how to say his name. I think it's Lupe Cifre. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry to this man.
It is all right.
I don't know. But I just started getting into his catalog. And then there's this one song that he has. It's called, I think, I Get ... And then I learned that there's 3 songs that are sampled from that one song. There's a Jay-Z song that's sampled, Miguel's Kaleidoscope Dream.
Wow.
And
the I Wonder.
From that song, which that song is called My Song. The original song is called My Song. Oh, and Slim Shady. And so I just keep going back and forth. So I'm obsessed with this dude since last Wednesday.
I used to go through things like that, and ironically, it was always because of Kanye. Because when he came in, people gave him such shit for they're like, oh, he's just ripping everybody's stuff. Like, he's just taking all these soul samples and making his own. And so, there were people that either just loved what Kanye was doing, or they were just like, this is bullshit. Like, he's barely remixing what they did. You know what I mean? That's how they felt. But when graduation in particular, for sure, because the album was that physical album was like a piece of artwork that if you got your hands on it, it was so cool to have. It was a little booklet flipped open, and there was just beautiful art from this Japanese artist. I forgot his name. It was beautiful. The colors were beautiful, popping out at you. And the samples, the songs he was putting together, to me, were so damn good. I was like, I want to know where this came from. Yep. So that I started finding Etta James tracks and just a bunch of old ass tracks that I ended up really, really liking.
Nina Simone.
Yeah, it's just he took. He took from everyone. So but
But the way he spins
but everyone does, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point, right? Is how do you take from people so much and absorb and then render new, which begets like originality. Somehow,
yep.
it's the absorption, it's the constant stealing from other people that and then in some weird magical alchemized way churns out something original.
Yep.
That you've never heard before.
Yep.
It's very, very weird.
And he does it so beautifully.
Yeah, so I definitely learned a lot of music just going and looking at all because who the fuck does that? Who's going and looking at the credits?
Me.
And you know what I mean? In a booklet and trying to figure out like, oh, who wrote this? Like, who's doing this?
Me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's me studying. Part of my study. I had the Rhythm Nation booklet, like back when even the cassette tapes, like, and you pull them out and they're like you have to fold it a million times.
Yeah, you remember the cassette.
Show my age.
Yeah, no, trust. I mean, that's what. Yo, hold on a second. This is what we're gonna get to the music because we have to talk more music.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about the fact that you and I are both here right now, and this is the second time on this podcast I've had someone come on that was related. Well, not you're actually like related, but in some way having a connection with Keion, right? And on top of that, there might be some weird, like
weird.
No, like split screen experience of how we remember each other and where we've seen each other.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm me and you're you, and I'm pretty certain that you were able to watch over us when we were younger. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pretty certain that you were able to like be around and like if something went down, like you were the one in charge. Mm-hmm. Okay. So because I'm about to blow your mind, I completely forget this, but like I'm trying to pick up pieces because I haven't seen you in so long. You are related to Keion how exactly?
So Keion is my nephew.
Okay.
So I'm his aunt. We are, I think we're,
okay. So
I have so many nieces and nephews. I forgot how old he is. I think we're either 2 or 3 years.
So whose sister are you?
Okay. So Keion and I are related technically by marriage, but really in my family, we don't acknowledge step or in-law or anything like that. He's my nephew, point blank, period. Like if somebody try him, I'm running up on him like, yo, that's my nephew. You ain't messing with my family. Period. Oh God.
Because that's what I thought. I was like, I could have swore I remember her being around and like having to like watch us when the parents were away.
Yeah.
I was like, that's definitely her.
Yeah.
Like I know that's her, but it's like, but maybe it's not because that person would have had to have been some sort of significantly older than us in order to be in that position.
No.
But maybe not. Maybe you were just like a year older because you look like you're not older than me.
So my brother married his mom when we were really, really young. I want to say they got married in maybe 96, something like that. 95, 96, something like that. So we really grew up together. But there were times when I was the aunt in charge.
Yeah.
If somebody was, somebody got out of line, I had to be the one to, tell on them.
Yeah.
Or if they got into an altercation at the playground, then they would run to me.
Do you remember me giving you a heart? Because you remember those kids, like when you're just like, you gave me a fucking heart. Was I that kid to you? Do you remember?
I feel like I barely remember. Like I know that we were in proximity.
I barely remember you, Earl.
I'm sorry, Earl. I'm so sorry. I used to talk about you all the time. Oh man, I'm hanging out with Earl. And you and Ryan were like, we used to call them the Keion's friends. Keion's friends were Earl, Ryan, and Matthew.
Yes, Matthew Scott for sure. Shout out to Matthew Scott.
Oh, man.
Last time I was fucking with hanging out with this guy, this is so funny. When you like don't hang out with someone for a very, very long time and then you just find yourself at a Hooters with him. It's hilarious. No, hold on a second. Never mind, because I was about to talk first story. That's how vivid this is to me. I wasn't actually at this place. Now that I'm thinking about it. Keion told me this story, but he was out with Matthew Scott at Hooters. And a friend and a friend of his who Keion does not know and Keion would probably never actually want to spend any time with on his own. But this guy was just like in there, like cat calling women walking by, like it was like, oh God. It's just like, do you know how embarrassed you gotta be when you're at the table? It's like a friend of a friend, and they're doing all the whoop, 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 hey, shut up, woo, yeah,
How old was?
Grown man, like doesn't have the excuse. Oh, I think this was back when Keion and I were living together, but we were still full grown adults that like shouldn't do that. We were probably like in our mid 20s, 26, 27, I'd say. Yeah, that's crazy.
Nah.
Whoop whoop, shout out, yo.
Don't do that.
Whatever
the fuck. That's not cute.
No, it's not.
That's the quickest way to get me to ignore your ass.
As it ought to be. How do you even respond to that? You know what I mean? Like if somebody like what That's what do you want? That's what I wonder.
I don't owe you any money.
It's like I wonder, like when they do that, like what do they expect the woman to do? Do they expect her to like call back? Like do they expect them to just walk up? Oh, hey, I heard you screaming at me across the bar, so I decided I'd come over. You look very, very nice.
I mean, if somebody's screaming at me, I'm thinking they want money. Like they thinking that I owe them money, which would never be the case. But I'm like, no, man, I don't owe you no money. Like that's how I feel.
I never owe money. I pay shit back as soon as it's a problem that I owe money. If I owe money, good. I don't owe money because I'm getting you the money back immediately. I don't. That's
very good. That's a very good way to live.
There's just certain rules to the game, man. And you just can't.
Wish I was that disciplined.
You can't just be. I can't just be just knowing that I'm out living life and like someone is waiting on $200 for me. You know what I mean? Can't do that.
Tell it to student loans.
Oh yeah, where'd you go?
My loan, my one of my student loans is through Discover Student Loans, but it's like finally close to being paid off. So like,
okay, where were you studying?
What was I studying?
Where and what?
So I went to. It's a long story.
Oh. What the hell is going on?
It's a long story. So it took me 7 years to graduate college.
Is this where the Lena Storie came in? Is it just
part of it?
It's just composed of all of the story that you because you. Well, oh my gosh! Yes, that is. I get it. It's the autobiography.
None of these stories are in the song. Okay. They should be, but they're not. So I went to Nova for 3 years. And the reason why that is because my second year, I changed my major at the last minute. I started out as a business major, and I was like, oh, I am terrified of the math that they're trying to do. So I completely changed it. Well, I got hired in Fairfax County to be a before and after care on a summer program teacher, sub teacher. And so I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is what I want to do. So I changed my major to like teacher education or something, finished the program, took a year off, transferred to Norfolk State, went to Norfolk State for a semester and a half.
All right.
Life happened.
Semester and a half is hilarious.
Yes.
Semester
had
and a
to
half.
leave.
That's just like when you ask a little kid, like, how old are you?
I had to leave.
Like, I'm 6 in 8 months and 7 days. You getting every bit of that 3. Oh my god.
All of it. All of it.
Semester and a half.
Yes, and barely that. It was like a semester and like a month in, barely.
Okay.
But I like to, that's a better way to tell it.
I mean, listen, we all don't go through. School's weird. It's just, it's not for everybody.
It's not.
It's really, really, really not.
I did the best in college, though. I did better in college than I did high school. My high school.
I did as well. But
I was trying
mostly
to
just in the classes that I wanted to do. It was really the same thing as high school for me. It's just I excel where I want to. It's like where I'm interested, I'm blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
But like if I don't find interest, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna give a fuck. I just can't. It's so hard. It's so hard. But if I'm interested, then the obsession comes out. Right, where you're just like, oh, I'm about to get all up and through this.
Yep, and then you find yourself and you're at 3 a.m. listening to songs or, looking at all the interviews from this person. That's how it is for me when I become obsessed with music.
That's what's interesting, though.
So, or it's an artist that's new to me.
That's why I wanted to ask you what does. Please feel free to get into your sparkling water.
Okay. Oh, but I didn't tell you how I finished school. So I took a year off. My English professor at Norfolk State tried to convince me to get my doctorate in English, or to switch my major and go for my doctorate. And I was like, I never saw that for myself, but I ended up going with sociology. So I took another year off, transferred to VCU, and finished my bachelor's in sociology.
Okay.
So I always say that I am a Spartan.
Yeah.
Behold the green and gold, but I graduated as a Ram. But,
You traveled. You got to see a few things.
The whole of Virginia.
Yeah. How did you like? I mean, Nova to me, I thought was cool for what it was. Like I think that about most things. I'm like, if you just try not to hate it, and you just like, I don't know what else to say. Just maybe try to be a part of something, or just I don't know. It's tough trying to tell people like how to enjoy something. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't want to enjoy it, I guess you're not going to enjoy it. I thought it was fun. I was there taking communications classes, so business communications, interpersonal communications, public speaking, English compositions, Spanish 101 through 202. Like all that was super fun. Everything else, history, terrible. Math, terrible.
History can be really kind of not interesting if you don't have a professor that's a storyteller. I got real lucky at Nova because I don't remember his name, but I had 2 semesters with this guy and it was the best history. I mean, that was probably the first time in ever that I was like listening intently, like, oh my God, what is he going to do? I mean, he was animated. It was great.
How often do you feel like you come? I mean, maybe this could be very high because you're an artist and you're around a lot of artists. How often do you find yourself around really like riveting storytellers? Like you're like, man, you're good. Like I really like listening to you, like that.
You mean like poets or like spoken word or like,
any sort of stories? Maybe you're just talking to someone and they just start telling you a story. And you're like, man, this is a really fucking good story. Like any time in life where you're like, you're really good at doing this.
I would say more often than not.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
You're just constantly in contact with really good storytellers, and you like, wow, that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal space to be in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Because I know I've heard of comedians getting together. I've been watching a lot of stand-up comedy recently. I fucking love stand-up comedy. It's so much fun. And I know I've watched interviews of them speak, and hanging out with other comedians of them is so much fun because they're just, one, creatively, they're just jamming together, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're feeding off each other.
Yeah, so you're starting to come up with like new material in the back of your head, like as you're just having fun with your friends. But also there's clearly the no judgment zone. Like you can just say things you can't say around everyone because we know that here it's a safe space. Like we're just trying to make each other laugh. Right. So that judgment's not going to be there to sort of stifle your creativity. And the stories, like they all have great stories and they're all great storytellers because they fucking stand on stage all day and tell people stories. Yeah. I could just imagine like just hanging out with a bunch of comedians is great. So that's why I thought that possibly you being around composers, you might find yourself around some decent storytellers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same about myself. I'm a horrible storyteller. Despite my name, the name I gave myself. When I tell stories, I'm like all over the place and I have to go back and I'm like, oh, but, and then let me insert this part right here that I should have said 5 minutes ago. Yeah, then we just like, I mean, all right, it's cool to hear now, but
It really would have been really nice had you said that earlier. Like, then you would have really stuck the landing. It would have been like, oh, shit. So now we're just kind of like, oh, yeah. That's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
My little sister's terrible at telling stories too. I tell her all the time. It's really, really.
It's like, oh, but let me tell you about this. But you need to know about this part. It's like, girl,
it's just a lot of
time has passed.
Unnecessary details. A lot of the time, sometimes some of like the biggest, most impactful things completely left out. Like it's just like missing the mark. Yeah.
Oh,
but that's for a lot of people's storytelling, man.
It's not
like what does it take to become a good storyteller? You know what I mean? Like, think about what you have to be. This is what I was getting to, the studying, right? That's why I ask, because I think a lot of people, at least that's interesting to me. What is the artist process? Like, what does studying look like to you, really? Because it can be difficult because it can be difficult to explain. Like, because you have an insight in the thing, which is music and storytelling and composing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you have a certain insight. And once you have a certain insight, you know what you're looking at, you know what you're drawing from, and it's like more of a feeling than anything else. Like you're just absorbing stuff, just observing and absorbing.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to ask you that. I think that's like a very interesting thing to.
It's an exercise.
Yeah, like a very interesting thing to try to condition for yourself as an artist. Like how does one study it?
You continue to listen to music and then practice writing songs, and it just becomes easier.
You just do it.
Yeah, you literally just do it. Yeah.
That sounds like the funniest advice to give someone. Like, how do you get? Listen, I've been watching you for years now. I've been seeing you. You've gotten so much better. I saw when you first took that first 3 years to put out your first EP, and then I was there for your next one, and like you're so amazing. How do you get better? Like, can you give me the? And you're just like, you just gotta do it.
I'm sorry, you hone in your process. Yeah, I don't know.
That's tough, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just practice writing songs. You learn how to do it by studying, and Miss Peaches broke it down for me that one time, and it was like, okay, I get how this works. Yeah. Let me, play with different, like, do I want to do a verse? Do I want to skip the pre-chorus? Do I want to add? Do I want to make this a long verse? Or
so
you changing? You think about changing, like, how you're singing it, melodies, like, I don't know. I'm still a student of music, so.
Well, look, I feel like in order to be great, you're always that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I would hope so. I hope to always be a student. So again, you are performing. Mm-hmm. How often would you say?
Every week. Okay. Whether it's an open mic or.
So you mostly. All right. So again, the ratio between yours, like original material, and the covers. Like, what is that? Is that like 80% covers, 20% your stuff?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I would say 80% covers right now, just because I'm involved in like 2 different bands.
Oh right, right.
And I normally do covers at open mics unless I'm featuring. So, like, if, someone who's hosting an event will say, hey, I want you to be, like, the feature artist, which normally, instead of the one song, you get, like, a 15 to 20-minute slot. And so then I'll be like, okay, let me do some original stuff.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or if I'm doing track music, then, I'm playing along with the actual, like, music, not a live musician, then I'll maybe do like one cover and mostly originals. But if I'm doing a feature where I have like someone accompanying me, like a keyboard player or a guitarist, then like the covers are more fun when it's live music for me. Because I honestly really
live music is it's amazing.
I really loathe doing covers. But
wow, really?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh, talk to me about this, because that's 80% of what you perform.
I know, yes.
So tell me,
because my vocal coach told me years ago when I first started with her, you have to learn covers, you have to do covers. And it's basically like this, you have to be able to like show your stuff. I mean, and that's not really her words, but that's other people will say in the community. Like, you have to like be able to show what you can do. So I choose songs that I love singing.
Okay.
With the band, that's kind of hard because I don't love all the songs.
Yeah.
So when I'm practicing them, I just kind of like, cuss them out in my head. Like, I hate this song. Like, I can't stand this song. But I never show it on stage. I'm like, okay, like you would think I'm having the time of my life.
I mean, you look like you're having a great time every time I see you. That's why when I saw you at Keion's birthday cookout thing, I was just like, every time I see you, I feel good. You are a good follow. I like when people, and this is different for everyone, but I like when people are good follows. You ever have someone be like, yo, like I followed you, you ain't follow me back? Have you ever had someone say that to you?
No.
Oh, it's not fun. It's not fun when they do that. Sometimes they will approach you because they don't have proper etiquette, and they'll just be like, hey man, I followed you, like you ain't following me back. Now you gotta look at them and be like, God damn. Like, dude, how do I say this to you? I understand that there's this thing that you feel like is proper social media etiquette, which is I need to follow you if you follow me. But here's the thing. I'm not opening this thing often, but when I do, I'd like to see things that I like. I like to see things I like and things that like I'm genuinely interested in. Wow. And maybe I'm just not getting that off of your page. I just don't think you're a great follow. I just don't care for it. Like that's all. And I just feel like that should be fair. And you also don't have to follow me. I'll never come to you and be like, yo, why don't you follow me? That'll never happen. So you don't have to follow me either, right? I think you're a good follow. When I see your stuff, I'm like, oh, that makes me happy. She's having a blast. Or so I thought. Now I know she's secretly cussing the band out.
Only some songs. And I'm not cussing out the band. I'm cussing out the music. I'm like, I don't want to sing this song, but I'm going to. Yeah. But I'm a professional or whatever.
Yeah.
But most times I'll follow people back. But if I don't like their content, like I will just remove myself.
Dude, sometimes you gotta
or sometimes I just gotta block people because like they're sending me stuff or they're trying to get at me and I'm like no.
What are they and you say the get at you, clearly there's no cat calling on Instagram. I've seen some wild things though, because there's almost nothing I love talking to women about more than men's advancements. It's the funnest of conversations I could possibly have. You have to give me one. Like what are they saying? What's the essence of what these guys are saying that puts you off?
I have this one guy that I've been friends with him on Facebook for years. And when I was in my last serious relationship, he would like this was when I was like more transparent and a little immature on social media, particularly Facebook. If I wear my heart on my sleeve, and back then I used to like all the angry statuses, and he would like reach out and be like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I would be like, "Okay, like I'm in a whole relationship, I can't, and I'm not interested." So for years, the past couple of years, he's been like in my inbox like, oh man, like you still got a man, or do you got a man, or I want to be your man, or I want to take you out. And I'm like, I have not shown you any interest. And I actually ran into him at an event in Richmond on Friday. And I talked to him about the show.
This is a fresh one.
This is real fresh. I talked to him about I was telling him about my show because one of the bands that I'm in, Vibe Riot, we opened for Lupe and for Lupe Fiasco.
I saw that. I saw that.
So I'm sitting here chatting it up, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm so jealous." Blah 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 blah. Because like he doesn't seem dangerous. So I'm like, and plus I'm like in public. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my god, it was so cool. Blah 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 blah. And then today he's like, "So was that your man? Was you with your man on Friday?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "Sir, can you Stop. Like, I have not given you any play.
Yeah.
I just want to take you out. That's the one all the time.
I think that I think that.
Or do you want to have any kids? Do you got any kids? Do you want to have kids?
I don't have any kids. No, I'm not looking for. But I feel
that's
like
the question I get.
I feel. Oh, that's hilarious. Whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
You get the question. Do you have any kids? Do you want some kids?
I will be your baby daddy. What?
Damn. I wonder if they just feel like that's. I mean, they must feel like that's just super flattering. Like, yo, listen. I will, please bear my children. I will be with you. Whatever I gotta do, you know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy, but
it's crazy. But and that's why I just be like, that's why I ignore him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I think propositioning someone one time is good enough. I think the one time,
7 years ago, the first time.
Just say what you, because I also want people to say what they need to say. If you shoot your shot, they say, right? Get out there and be respectful, right? Do that once. That message will remain in that inbox. If there ever comes a time where that person wants to go back and they see it and things are different in their head, or they saw you and they see you differently or whatever, and they want to reach out, whatever happens, then that happens. Or it works out right then and there. Like, that's cool. But the second one is a little wild, right? It's like, I'm trying to shoot this hypothetical person some bail right now. Like, I'm trying to think about what they would think about for that's the thing. Like, the second one is completely unwarranted. Anything after the first one is just unwarranted.
These were two different people, but the first one, like, he's constantly in my inbox. Oh my God, I love this picture. Wow. You're so gorgeous right here. But completely separately, another person was like, oh my God, I always thought you were bad. Do you want any kids? Okay. I'm like, okay. Can you slow down? Because I can't keep up. I can't keep up with what you're talking about, sir. My inbox is.
That's crazy.
It's funny.
That's crazy.
It should be a sitcom. It should be a Netflix series.
All right, we need to work together to figure out how we can get this AP out. Like, what can I do? What can we as a people do to get your original work out in the ether for the rest of us to consume? What can we do?
Okay, part of
do I need to just start blowing up your Instagram? Do I have to do I have to direct people over there? Like, what do I have to do? I mean, I can do what I can do.
So part of it was I've literally had a major musical performance like almost every month this year since January. So some of it, and I was like, my June show and performance schedule was so busy, I didn't have time. So even though I have a studio in-house, I just don't have the time.
Wait a minute. You built a studio in your home?
So where I live, my roommate has a studio, and so he engineers. And so, I mean,
and so you have an engineer in your house?
Yeah.
In a studio in your house?
Yes. But we've been busy. We've had so many shows, and then also our schedules don't always align for me or for him, to have a session. So it's just like people be busy.
What's the funnest thing about going out as much as you've been, performing at these huge events for yourself?
The funnest thing?
Yeah, what's the funnest thing about it? Like, what do you get jazzed up about? Like, I can't wait for the free drinks or the the free platter. They're gonna. I don't.
Where they at? But so I actually haven't been drinking this whole year since January. So
look at you! Congratulations. How do you feel?
So it started out as a voice preservation thing. And then
wait a minute, talk to me about this, because I've never heard those two words put together. Voice preservation.
Yeah.
Like you're conserving your voice, like you're trying to say less.
Not say less.
For your vocal cords.
Yeah, so alcohol constricts the vocal cords. Yeah. Yeah, so I partied a lot. Towards the end of last year,
You was fitting a lie and say a little.
I drank a lot. I partied hard.
Okay.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
From October to December, and then I think the last party that I went to, my girlfriend, we drank so much. Well, I shouldn't say so much. I drank like a third of a bottle of wine by myself, and then I had 2 shots. And so, then we were up until it was the whole party. It was a lot of people. There was amazing food. It was great. Everybody was twerking everything.
For your height, weight, and gender, that's quite a bit of alcohol consumption.
And then
over the course of how much time would you say though?
It was like a couple hours.
Couple hours?
No, well, we stayed. I didn't go to sleep until 6 a.m. the next day, so I was up for a long time. So my voice was done. I was tired. So anyway, like a couple of days later, I went to do my vocal exercises, and I couldn't access my lower register. So singing in like the more like the alto, notes, even lower than that. And then I was like, oh, it's because I drank. And then I was like, I should probably chill out a little bit because I got stuff coming up. And I was like,
look at you.
So I was trying to be, responsible.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. Congratulations. Hey. That's good. Yes, you did have things coming up and you were being responsible, but you have to understand, being responsible is not always people's choice.
Yeah.
It's not always their first choice. It's a choice that comes when they've been beaten down by life and now they're forced to be responsible.
Yeah.
But for you to make that decision, and because I was wondering if it was scary for you. No, not the stopping, but when you went to go try to access your lower register, right? And you couldn't.
I couldn't.
And you being like, oh, fuck, I can't even sing the way I want to right now.
Exactly.
This isn't cool.
My voice isn't moving. It's not bending to my will the way I needed to. But then it turned into a spiritual thing. So I had promised myself, okay, so I'm going to stop in December, and then by my birthday's in February. All right, I'm going to have a drink for my birthday. My birthday comes around. I'm like, I don't want to drink. Because everybody's like, okay, I'm going to buy you some wine. I'm like, don't. They're like, okay, no, let's go out to eat. I'll buy you some drinks. I'm like, I don't really want to drink. And then I just started to think okay, all right, what am I doing? I turned up really hard last year. I'm being a little irresponsible, and I need to chill out. Let's explore this. So then I started going deeper, and it just, I don't know. I was just like, what am I really using alcohol for recreation, or am I using it to, cope with things that maybe, I'm not, addressing, because I've been on this intensive healing journey for the past 2 years. So it just it just went deeper and deeper. And then I was like, you know what? I think maybe sometimes, not all the time, I have been using it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And so it just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to drink. And then a couple weeks ago, one of my friends came to visit me in Richmond, and we went to brunch, and I had my first mimosa.
Oh, I love a mimosa. Just classic orange juice mimosa?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Love champagne. I've taken a step back from things as I get older. I'm just doing the lighter version of everything for the most part. Ice cream sorbet, right? Or frozen yogurt. Cake pie, probably the pie. And when it comes to alcohol, liquor, beer, wine, champagne, probably going with the bubbly. You know what I mean? Just something real light. I'm that's fun. A mimosa's fun.
Yeah, I don't really see myself doing random shots. If I go on vacation,
when you do shots, you're doing it for different reasons.
The shots is what's probably messed me up. When you just see
a person do a shot, you're like, it's very different than when they sip a glass of sparkling wine. A little spritz here with some cut up strawberries and lemon inside of it. You know what I mean? It's different.
You fancy.
But when someone fucking cracks open a bottle of Fireball and they're like, because it tastes terrible, it's just a different.
What Fireball is it? That's my shot of choice. Fireball.
Your shot of if you could have a shot of
Fireball.
anything.
Cinnamon whiskey. Cinnamon whiskey. Yes.
That's why you had to chill the fuck out, because you was taking a bunch of cinnamon whiskey to the face.
I was drinking Tito's.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
tequila.
I haven't had too much Tito's in my life, but and tequila. So vodka.
That night I only had the Tito's, but I'm just saying I would prefer the
like
Fireball.
tequila.
I want the cinnamon whiskey.
That's so funny. Can I ask about this intentional spiritual journey for the past 2 years?
Okay.
You brought it up. I just want. We don't have to get wild deep unless it's just all deep. So it has to be.
I'm like, what do I want to say? Okay, so
I mean, first of all, let me start with I love it. I love it for you already. Because something happened, or a series of things happened that made you come to a fork in the road where you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Something's got to change, just like the voice thing. Like something has to change here, because what I experienced, or what I've been experiencing, has been suboptimal, right? At the least, right? So I or at the most, maybe.
What I'll say is, so I was in a 5-year relationship, and things got really ugly. Let's just say that on both sides, because accountability or whatever. On both sides, and like it just got to a point where I was like, I don't even recognize myself. Like I am not happy. Like there was no love left when I walked away from me, and that's crazy because like I'm a lover, not a fighter, and I'm also an empath. But when I walked away from that situation, I just like, I got really, really numb. And I was like, okay, if I want to get better from this, if I want to grow from this, then I'm going to have to like take radical responsibility for my contributions on how this, became such an ugly and toxic situation. I mean, because I could say, it's easy for you to say, well, like, he did this and he did that. Like, yeah, that's fine. But I can't control him. I can control myself. And me taking responsibility doesn't absolve him for his wrongdoings against me. But if I can understand why I did or why I participated in those actions or those arguments or whatever, then I'm like, I can grow from it. And so it was hard. It's like when you face yourself and you're like, face the darkest parts of yourself, that's where like some strength is in there, but I had to go deep. And
you did this on your own accord. No one was like, hey, Lena, I think you should really go see someone. I think you should. You were like, okay, I'm going to do it. I needed it for myself. So how do you do that? Do you like sit by yourself? Do you like, how do you reflect and try to churn it into something that makes you better? Like,
so, well, I had already been seeing a therapist, and we started talking about childhood traumas and, family relationships that, need a repair or maybe have contributed to, some of my, hurt or whatever. So I was already in therapy, but I just think I got to a place where I just made the choice to take the reins for myself. And I'm like, this is no longer about trying to salvage this relationship, because it was never going to be saved, because had I been completely grounded and, completely myself, then I wouldn't have gotten here. So how can I prevent myself from getting, in an attachment and, looking like love when it's not love, because I wasn't loving myself. And so I had to learn how to make small choices every day so that I could love myself. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So spending time with myself, listening to my body, paying attention to what triggers me, paying attention to how I feel around people, paying attention to like if I'm recoiling against something, like I don't really like this, and not forcing myself through it, because we're getting over people pleasing. Like people pleasing is it's a horrible combination when you're an empath.
Oh man.
When everybody wants to talk to you and oh my God, I'm going through this, and then you don't have boundaries. It's a recipe for getting in.
You just take a lot on, be drained at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes.
And get no sort of therapist money, like
At all.
to be all these
I want all the money.
I want all the money.
I want it all.
We have to, Mikey. He does the engineering for this. Mikey, please clip that. I just want that as a clip when she says, "I want all the money." Please clip that out for me. Thank you.
Oh my God. I want all the money. I do.
Get some more ice and fizzy stuff. Oh, I do. No, it's not a lie. I want all the money.
I do. I want the money. I want the money back from. Let me stop. I won't get too deep.
What are you gonna do with the money? If you had all the money, what would you do with it? Like, what's your thing? Oh, look at you. See?
I would travel.
Where are you going?
Where am I going? I'm going to Thailand. And I'm going to Bali.
Okay.
I'm going to Italy.
Okay.
I'm going to Iceland. I'm going to Kenya.
Okay,
that should be on top of the list. I'm going to Kenya.
Okay, you got some stuff ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, child. She got a whole list.
Yeah. What are you trying to do? You just want to see?
Just be there and see I want to see all the things. But I only want to see a little bit of it because I'm the type of person when I go on vacation, I want to be able to relax. I want to sit at the beach and read or listen to music or journal. Don't have me out here doing 100 million activities. I don't need a whole itinerary jam packed for the day. Don't do that. That's not my type of travel style. So we can do, I want to do an activity or two and relax.
I'm with you.
Relax. I had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Yeah. Oh man, you had there was someone ruining vacations for you. Fuck, man.
He didn't.
I was having this conversation with someone earlier today. It's like,
sweet guy. He was a sweet guy. This guy I dated, but
he just didn't know any better. What was it? Was it the itinerary thing? Was he just trying to do too much?
He was trying to do too much.
Oh,
he was trying to do too much.
Poor guy trying to be a good guy, just trying to.
Don't make me sound like that.
No, I'm just saying. Sometimes you try to do too much and you don't know that you're doing it. That's the tale of most like young boys and maybe young girls growing older, but definitely a lot of young boys that are trying to impress girls, and you're trying to figure like you are in your head. Let me tell you what the mind of a teenage boy is like. If you like girls, like you're trying to figure out like how can I get them to like me? Like that's what's on your mind. Your testosterone is flowing, it's pumping.
Oh my
right?
God. That's scary stuff.
Not to be too graphic, but your penis is hard all of the time. Just imagine like that on a human. That's what it is. Like you're literally being driven by this urge. Mm-hmm. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
And the girls everywhere at your school, right? And you talk to them and you're mingling and you're running around and they're looking cute. And now some of them like you, but you still have to figure out how to interact with them, right? You're trying to figure it the fuck out. That's like a lot of young boys mind. Like, how do I get her to? So a lot of people just don't. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough thing. Again, it's like how do you study, right? Like how do you study? Your artist. It's the same thing. It's like how do you get good at being around people? Yeah, but some people
you gotta practice.
Some people are around people all the time, and like they don't get better at that.
Well,
so it's just sometimes it's just people's luck just sucks. It's like you're
cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, it's just not gonna. You just separate yourself from that. It's terrible. So some people are gonna try to do a lot, and it's gonna be their demise. Yeah, as was this guy because you're not with him now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
That's tough.
I mean, sweet guys, really sweet guy.
That's always the thing. Oh my gosh, he was so sweet, nicest guy in the world. Oh my gosh, he took care of his grandma and he fostered dogs and he had a good job. He was such a good guy, but absolutely, I was not going to continue to date him. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Fuck that guy. No.
Great on paper, but it was too many. It was too many cracks in the glass for me, and I was like, I have to ask myself, would I be okay living the rest of my life with a person if they never change? And I was like, I can't do it.
Now, what are you, again, accountability and all of that? What do you sort of take on knowing that you have artist brain?
Brain?
Like what does anyone coming into a relationship with you need to know off the bat? Like, hey, listen.
Hey,
my name is Tanisha with a silent R.
Yes, thank you.
Lena Storie.
Yes, thank you. Earl.
And there's some things you need to know about the way that my brain works, or maybe some of the things that I like to do, the way I like to navigate this earth. You're going to need to know this now.
God,
what's that?
So from my past relationships, I learned that guys can be uncomfortable when I'm working with other males. But if I could find engineers that are women, I would happily work with them and give them my money.
But should it matter though? I mean, in the sense that maybe you want to support women, sure, but in the sense that you don't want to be around the men because it makes the other man weird. What's going on there?
Well, I tend to not work with people who make me feel weird. Let's just start there because I've had my share of the weirdos in the studio. Honey, my whole 20s.
Damn,
my whole 20s.
It's just been nasty in there.
Yes. It's always one.
What are they saying in the studio?
They're always trying to get at me, trying to be in my...
You trying to get some free studio time? Like, what are they saying?
I've heard that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Damn, the free studio. See, my thing...
I've heard a lot of stuff.
See, if I was in a position to give someone something like a free studio time, I would never proposition it. Now, if you were around someone and for whatever reason you all caught some rhythm and then there was sexual exploits had and we just liked each other and then you came around and I started giving you a discount, that's different than being like, hey, do you want one?
Man, if that would have happened in my singlehood,
see,
that would be completely different.
That's very different. That's not the way that it was. Yeah.
It's
just like, hey, you want to make it, right?
Someone said that to me. I met with this guy.
Because I'm just having fun saying wild shit, but then you're like, oh, I actually got that one.
Yes, this guy. I had found him on Instagram, and I think he was living in Atlanta, and he was basically like asking me like, okay, what type of music do you like? And it seemed like an innocent conversation at first, and then he was like, yeah, so if we're gonna be doing this, and we're gonna be hanging out, then I'm going to be expecting you to be around. And I was like, be around, like, how? And he was like, like, in my house. And I was like, no. And then he said some wild shit. He was like, yeah, I would expect you to, like, be with me in my bed. And I was like,
oh.
I was like, oh, no. Yeah. I was like, oh, no. He made it clear real fast.
Yeah, I was about to say, it got less and less inconspicuous the more he talked. Okay.
The more he talked, I was like,
Yeah. Because first, like, I'm going to need you to be around. It's like,
from a phone call.
I'm just like, yeah, I get that. Like, I need to be around. We need to record. Like, yeah, I'm here to work. Like, I get that. And he's just like, nah, like, I'm going to need you, like, like, be around. He's like, hold up. Like in my bed. Oh, that's what you mean by around. Gotcha.
So a couple years ago, I used to work for the security company. We did installs for or we coordinated installs for like CCTV access control for retailers across the U.S. And I had this project manager who worked on a different account, and we used to talk all the time about music, and like it was really friendly. But then we exchanged numbers, and he started texting me like, oh man, you really need to be traveling with your music, and I want to invite you to this brunch thing. And I'm like, okay. I'm because of my experiences, I'm already like approaching it like, listen out for the shit. So the radar is
the radar, your antennas are up.
I'm like, and then like a year goes by and he reaches out to me. He's like, hey, are you still doing music? Like, I want to put you onto this brunch, and I just want you to, like, be close to me. But like, he sent me this long paragraph, and he had said, you got to be like close to me, like standing next to him, like glued at the hip. Like he made it seem like I need to be glued at the hip. Like the way he kept reiterating close to me. I was like, I was like, blocked.
That's where you,
blocked immediately.
See, that's where you lost me, because I'm trying to be in the shoes of these people that are doing this, because I'm thinking like, okay, all right. You're an attractive human. Okay. So let's just start with I'm trying to walk through this, you know what I mean? Like in the mind of the guy. So I'm like, okay.
That wasn't always the case, because I used to get teased in school. People called me gremlin. People used to say I was ugly. People used to say a lot of shit.
And apparently Michael Jackson as well.
Yeah, I did get called Little Michael Jackson. Yeah, that used to hurt my feelings. But now
that's okay though. Yeah, I was about to say, because things change. If the shit switches up.
Yeah.
I've seen shit switch up. I love those stories. When shit switches up, it's pretty much the ugly duckling story. It's just like they talked all that shit. I've seen it happen over and over again where guys are like, yo, did you see such and such from high school? Did you see them? Like, dude, she's a model now. We used to make fun. She's a model now. We used to make fun of. We used to throw gum at her in the back of class. She's a model. She's in New York. She's everywhere. They're like, yeah. You were an asshole though, so she's probably not going to talk to you.
Yeah, I had that. I've had it.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh man, like this guy tried to talk to me. This was like maybe 2 years after high school, and I remember we were walking. It was like in between classes, and I was laughing at something. And he was like, yo, like, what the F you laughing at, you ugly little girl with the glasses? Oh,
shit.
2 years after high school, he sees me, doesn't recognize me. Not much is really different except maybe my glasses. And he was like, oh, man, like, oh, you so cute. I was like, oh, you don't remember.
Oh, no.
He was like... He was like, remember what? I was like, you called me ugly in the hallway when I was on my way to history. I was like, but talk your shit. Okay.
Ooh, that's a terrible feel. I mean, I don't know what his level of shame is, but for me, hearing that story, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so like there's nothing you can do in that moment but apologize. There's nothing you can do. Even if it's not to be accepted, there's nothing you can do. Be like, I'm very sorry about that. And I'm going to leave you alone now. What else do you want to do in that position?
Honey, I don't remember. I just remember walking away and being like...
all right, so the mental space of these guys offering you these things. Okay, so you're an attractive person. So they're looking at you. They're like, okay, I like the way she looks to me. Mm-hmm. Boom. Men, you got most of it down. Then they're like, she's talented. I know she's talented because I work with her. I know of her. She's talented. So you're attractive and talented, right? But they also understand that talent doesn't do shit. It doesn't do not shit, but it's the drive. It's the incentive. It's the motivation. It's the perseverance. So then they're like, okay, so you're an attractive, talented, driven person. So, and I'm certain they're spending time around you. Mm-hmm. You like to have fun. You're a great time to be around. So all I'm saying is they should like you. That's one. So I'm getting this out the way. I'm not absolving them from what it is they're doing. But, okay, I'm going to land this plane, I promise. Mm-hmm. So They should like you. Then they shoot their shot. Now, it's a terrible way of doing it. I think for that guy in particular, you were saying like, hey, I'd really like you to come to this thing. I want you to meet these people, mingle, network, whatever, but I need you to be close to me. I'm hoping. I could be very, very wrong. I'm hoping that he was very bad at saying, I need someone with your essence. I need you to be a date. Like I do want you to come here and do this thing, but I'd really like you to come as a date because it means something to me to have someone with me, because that's the way that some weird networking stuff works. And it'd be really, really nice to be able to say like, oh, hey, this is Tanisha. This is, and I don't even have to call you my date, but I could say this is my friend or whatever. But like, it'd be nice if I was seen with you. Now, it clearly wasn't articulated that way. I don't know if it matters if it's articulated that way to you or not, because it could still just very well be weird. But it would have been better, at least.
Maybe. But it translated as...
He's like, fuck what you're talking about, Earl. This is what it sounded like. Go.
It translated as, I am pretending to be your friend because we have a mutual interest in the love of music and the love of, the oldies or whatever. And because I was doing, what was I doing? I was doing this Instagram series where I was talking about like my favorite oldie songs and like what was special about them or whatever. And so he was really interested in that. And we talked about me possibly doing like some type of podcast thing or whatever. So we've been in communication about that. So it translated in that moment after that message. It was like a really long message. I mean, you would think that it was one of them relationship type argumentative, been standing in the same spot for an hour and texting back type of messages. No. That message in that moment translated as, I've been pretending to be your friend, and now I want to help you in your career if you do this with me on a personal level and understand that like you're no longer available. And for me, I was like, it's a negative, sir. So you're blocked.
Yeah.
You're blocked. You gotta go.
Damn.
No. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, I guess that you just have to go through that. Like, there's no way to not, like, like, you're gonna run into people that are, like, gonna try. Mm-hmm. Has anyone ever said, I mean, I guess not, because you haven't been like, oh, well, actually, afterwards he said, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for what I said to come off that way. If you don't want to do it in the capacity that I just said, that's fine. But I would still love for you to have this opportunity or get this look. Like, please come to this thing. You don't even have to come talk to me, but come anyway. Has anyone ever reached back out and said, like, you know what? I'm sorry. I shot a shot. It didn't go in. I'm sorry, but please, I don't want that to get in the way of you still reaping the benefits of this thing. Like, please still reap the benefits of this. Just forget about me being an idiot.
I feel like maybe that has happened, but like because my perception was already soured.
Oh,
like,
it's done. They burnt it. Once they're done, they're done.
But it's not even like, it's not even the trying to get at me is the issue. It's the pretending. It's the shadiness about it. It's the posing. You're posing as a friend or posing as a resource, and then you drop this on me. Like,
what if it came in that natural progression? What if at first they were that thing and they were like, yeah, it's cool, and then they spent more time around you? Like, kind of like her.
I might.
Isn't that the way that most of them go? Like, everybody at the very beginning doesn't just know, like, oh, let me shoot my shot with her. Sometimes it happens through a course of weeks or something. You get to know someone and you're like, oh, damn, I didn't know this at first, but I actually really like you.
A lot of things like that happen while I was in a relationship or seeing someone, and they knew about it.
Oh yeah, that's another element.
Right. So it's like if I've been publicly in a relationship and you're still trying to get at me on the low, I automatically don't respect you. I like my interest is zero.
Oh yeah,
zilch.
Trying to slide through on the low. Yeah, that's pretty
like funny. I just posted a picture of me and what's his face, and you're like, "Oh man, so you and so still together, sir? What? Goodbye."
Sometimes people don't care about those. I've been in that position. I have been in a position in a lot of my shittier years where they posted that picture and they're still coming over tonight. Like they don't care about that picture. They just posted it because it looks good because it's Instagram and they want to look good. They want to make their relationship look good, but they're not really happy in their relationship.
Oh no.
So they still hang out. Yeah.
No, that's not me.
Because sometimes you have to wonder like where people get these lines and why they think that they work. And then you have to, to some degree, it worked on someone. Like there's some ilk of people that are being gathered this way. It's crazy.
No, I mean,
different strokes for different folks. That's. But okay, but I'm glad that you're out and you're safe and you're happy. How do you feel? Because all this came from this first thing that I was really, really, really interested in, and you kind of did like a judo move and got out of there, which was good. No, you did really, really good, and you did answer the question. It was up to snuff. How do you feel knowing how you felt 2 years ago? Like, how do you feel now? Like in this 2 years, I know a lot can happen in 2 years as far as a personal, spiritual journey can go. Healing can go, especially if you're, humble enough and open enough to try to take the therapy route.
Yeah.
Whichever therapy route you're going to try to use. I'm certain your therapist is a therapy route. I'm certain your music is the therapy route. Like it's maybe you speaking to a close friend or family member is a therapy route, whatever. There could be time where maybe there are these moments where you said you have to go out and live life or just try to drop things from your head. Like forget about the song you're trying to work on. Forget about that. Whatever those moments are that you're having, right? Like those could be therapeutic moments. What are those, by the way? Like what helps you clear your mind the most?
So in terms of looking for inspiration or trying to like maybe intentionally or not intentionally, I'll watch like old movies that I haven't seen, like black and white movies. Like 1 year I watched Casablanca. Okay. Because it was a popular movie and I was like, okay, like who people always talk about Humphrey Bogart. Let me look at that. So
I haven't watched it. I still haven't.
It's a really good movie.
I mean,
it's a romantic movie. Okay. I'm a romantic. I'm a hopeless romantic. Okay. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So or listening to it could be listening to or listening or watching something that I've listened to or watched like 100 times. Like I've seen Pride and Prejudice too many times to count.
Oh wow, Pride and Prejudice. That's the one with Keira Knightley. Did you? Yeah.
Oh man, I love her.
I watched it once right after I read the book. Did you ever read the book?
I never read the book.
Yeah, that's by Jane Austen. It's really, really good.
Jane Austen.
That was a really good movie.
Yeah,
good story, I should just say, overall. That was really well done.
Yeah. What do I do to clear my mind? So some Sundays I will like go to a shop, like a coffee shop or something, and I'll just like chill and I'll start journaling, or I'll read this book that my therapist prescribed to me. And I'll journal about it. So I'll like kind of take note of how am I feeling, how am I breathing, like what's happening that's spiking if something's spiking my anxiety or spiking my emotional state. And I'll like explore that and like try to get grounded. And usually like after I've spent an hour reading or journaling about it, like I feel better, I feel lighter about it.
What's the book?
It's called Codependency No More by Michelle Beatty, I think.
Okay.
So I'll read my little book, or I'll journal. I have the Calm app on my phone, so if I need to, I'll meditate with that. Or sometimes I go to the park and I blow bubbles. Real story. I have bubbles in my car.
I just. Why did you wait so long to get to that one? Because that's the real one. That's the one you should have started with at the. That's at the top of the heap.
Right.
Is go to the park and blow bubbles.
I do, and I do it at the beach.
What's it about the bubble? Like what is it about that? Do you just is it the
relaxing.
Watching it? Is it the actual blowing aspect of it? Like
it's the watching the bubbles. It's the watching. It's
it.
the watching it. It's the doing. So I have these bubble wands, and I'll wave them. So you dip the little thing, and then you go like this, and then you're like and then the bubbles are blowing in the wind, and it just feels great.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's the whole experience. It just is
blowing bubbles,
and I'm listening to something calming.
That's so cool. I love that for you. I love the image of you sitting in a park.
Yeah. Or at the beach.
Just blowing bubbles and you just listening to music.
Yeah, and I'm just waving.
Just minding your own fucking business. I love that. I love that so much. That's so good for you.
Yeah, I love blowing bubbles. It's great.
All right. So you're doing some fun stuff. You're feeling much better than you were 2 years ago.
Yep.
I love that you were able to just muster up the strength and be like, I'm changing. I'm changing things.
Yep.
Before you had to crash too hard.
Yeah.
Some people.
I would say I crashed pretty hard.
You got some hard ones, yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. All right. So you were saying that you had spoken to your friend that you now live with, correct? You said your friend? That's the engineer? Mm-hmm. About doing a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, no,
that was him? Or
wait, no. Not that I live with. Oh, hey.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That was the old guy, the last guy that was trying to get you to stand next to him at the thing.
At whatever event they had.
And you guys were probably going to do that based around old soul music. Or, okay, and just speak about old albums and how they make you feel, whatever. Okay. So what do I and the people have to do to get you to do that?
Oh my God.
To get the podcast going? I can answer some questions for you.
Oh my God.
I'm certain, you know what I mean? Just something. Because you came here and at the very beginning, you were like, oh, I'm so nervous, right? And I'm like, let's just bypass that. Let's just get on to the conversation because you don't need to be nervous because what are you nervous about, right? Like you're clearly just fine. Like what do you said to me actually before you got here weeks ago, because, by the way, we had scheduled this a month and a half. How long ago did we schedule this?
It
was a month and a half ago. It was a long time.
Yeah.
You said you're bad at interviews. Now, I don't really view what I do as an interview. It's definitely, I just like to talk and chat with people. But what have you been a part of? How has it been conducted? As far as interviews go, and why did it make you feel the way that you felt? Because do you feel like you're doing bad now? Because I don't even know what doing bad is, because we're just hanging out. And you know what I mean? With recording this is so it's fun. I don't know what being bad here really is, unless you just just looking at me, you know what I mean? Big old eyes, it's just, you know what I mean? I don't, you seem like you're having fun, which is great. That's the whole point, right?
Well, the setup is comfortable. I've done interviews before where I was struggling to find the words, even more than I am today.
Oh, are you struggling?
I felt like
you're struggling to find some words?
You were trying to get me to answer the how do you study question. I still haven't given you a clear answer. I don't know what to tell you.
It's difficult to do so.
But
it's very difficult.
I did it.
For instance, I watch podcasts. I will listen to people speak. I will watch them. I go out in the regular world and every conversation that's what's fun about what it is I do. The amount of time available to practice it is limitless. There are always people around. There are always people around for me to talk to, right? So I'm constantly talking with people. But to try to explain to someone what I experience and sense when I'm in conversations with people the things that I'm listening to, the lines I'm reading in between.
Oh my God.
But it's all conditioned now, so it's not something I have to work at, you know. But the things that I'm able to learn and the things I'm able to analyze and assess and draw from, it's so difficult to try to explain that. That's why I decided to challenge you by asking, like, what does studying look like for you? It's fucking difficult to explain. It's very, very difficult.
Years of practice.
Just doing it.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way to learn is to get in there, like.
Yeah. And then you find your own way of
rhythm.
like what works for you. Like how do you work? You have to learn how to be you. That's a tough like endeavor. It's a very necessary endeavor for every human. But everyone doesn't do very good at learning themselves. Like learning like what works. I know that when I go to sleep, I like to stretch for at least 30 minutes, right, to an hour. I know that I like to have some white noise playing. It'd be nice if there was a little oil diffuser with some nice, beautiful smells in the air. Some comfortable fucking covers. I don't the fan on right in my room, so there's a little wind going. But I like to wear like a shirt, so I'm like warm, but I'm cold. It's just like there's a mixture there. Like I know certain things about that, so I can get good sleep. And you just got to know how you artist. Like how do you draw inspiration? How do you manipulate and bend to your will? How do you do that? You can't just like pass that on to someone else, but you just gotta like do it. I can tell you what I do. I can, you know what I mean? Sort of tell you the things that I'm interested in, the things that I sort of like zone in on. Because sometimes they're so nuanced. Like they're so like new, like things that you wouldn't, like no one else would really care about because at this level it's nerd shit. You know, like there's a certain level where you become a nerd, and everyone should have that. Everyone should be a nerd about at least one thing.
Yes.
Because all that means is that you love it, and you've sat there and you've done your research, and you've, you know.
I will say one of the strangest questions that, or situations that I find myself in, for me, just because I write differently, some people will be like, I want you to write a song that's about blah or type. No, I want you to write a song that's titled this.
What the fuck?
And how I write, I don't usually write with a concept in mind. I will hum a melody to myself, and I'm writing the song as I'm humming it as it's coming out. So usually it's a venting session, or I'm trying to explore the current emotion, and I'm doing it as it's happening. So I'm saying the words, you know, and people will be like, I want you to write a song that's titled this, and I'm like, that's not how I write. Like I write the song and then I title it later.
Yeah, and maybe it's not, and that title is not how I feel.
Exactly.
That's a very, very peculiar request.
To me,
I want you to write a song titled this.
I see.
What are you talking about? What is that going to do for you?
I've had that happen in person in studio sessions, and I see it a lot on YouTube. Like if I go on YouTube to like listen to beats, if I'm like, you know, let me listen to see what, you know, a chord might, you know, strike something in me, and I see it. Oh man, this song should be titled this, or you know, whatever. And I get it. Like the producers have to name their beats, but I'm like, do the songwriters in the comment section realize like you can, you know, be inspired and go a completely different direction than what the beat is titled?
I would hope so.
A lot of people.
Yikes!
Some of the
as
stuff
an
that I
artist, to be so narrow that like you see the name of a beat, so you're like, okay, I must write.
That is crazy.
I must now write to the name of this instrumental, which I could clearly change, and it's going to be changed by the time it's on my project. And it's like, why would you be holden to that?
Right. I can't be restricted that way.
No, that's ridiculous. Well, I mean, for us, at least, it seems. Yeah, that's not me. Some people, though, really need... and like I know a writer. She loves to write short stories and things like that, I think, for the most part. And she does really, really good with prompts. It's sort of like people that paint and draw, but they do it by like numbers, or they just have to look at something online and then they do it, but it's really, really good. They just have a really fucking hard time taking something out of their head and putting it on a canvas.
Prompts are good.
Yeah. So, you know, some people just really, really need that. And it's kind of the same. They're like, I can't just listen to the beat and create. I need to look at the title and think, okay, that's my prompt. This title of this beat is now my prompt. I need to make something that is geared towards whatever that makes me feel or think about, which is interesting. I mean, I guess that's a way to do it. Maybe it works. I'm certain somebody's doing it and their shit is fire. I don't know about most of them.
I mean, that's a little different. I mean, because if you're writing a short story or something from a writing prompt, then I think you're not having to listen to the melody and the chord changes and the key changes, and if there might be any tempo changes or anything like, you're not processing like all of that. You're not processing like how the music changes. You're not processing different sounds that are coming in, anything that's being added, anything that's like fading. Yeah. So I feel like that would be writing that way to a song might be more distracting.
We're going to get you back to this. You're not getting away. This
my
podcast thing. So what, because clearly this was an interest of yours. It wasn't just an interest just because he existed. Right.
Oh no. I have opened a can of worms.
So what, again, because this whole like, so what would you do? Would it be something that you feel like you would have scripted out so you wouldn't have to find the words? Like, or what do you?
Probably.
You think so?
I mean,
you think you would want to? I mean, maybe
not completely scripted. So I did something before.
You're gonna be like a documentarian, like.
So 2019, I had this Instagram series where it was my little music. I don't even remember what it was called because I feel like I've archived everything. But I would pick an artist of the week, and like one week I think maybe it was Isaac Hayes, and I talked about like his the musical intros. So like you have this like whole 8-bar of instrumental of just the music playing before he starts, and it's like it's like you're in an orchestra, and I'm like just talking about how like, you know, how much I love it and how exciting it is, and I don't know. So talking about the artist that I love, and then I'm like, okay, and then Isaac Hayes actually, you know, this was actually a cover of Dionne Warwick, and you know, people don't. So I'm giving like these little facts that I've learned, and I'm not talking about it. Some people liked it, you know, I don't know, stuff like that. I
had a conversation with someone that works often in different orchestras, right? She loves it so much. Fuck, what does she play? I want to say, I'm about to fuck this up. It's either cello or violin. I just have like a picture of her in my head, definitely using a bow. I just don't know if it's a stand-up bass or if it's a violin she does. But either way, it's one of those things. And she said, listen, I don't believe in God, but when I'm on stage with the orchestra and the music starts playing, she's like, to us, we know when every little thing is off, right? The people don't know in the seats. They're like, oh, this is beautiful music. But we're trying to achieve like this greatness the whole time. She's like, in every once in a while, there's this complete harmony that we hit. This complete harmony. In every fucking thing that was happening backstage where people were yelling at each other about fucking makeup or whatever, or so-and-so had sex with so-and-so's wife. Who knows what's going on in the orchestra? There's a lot of shit going on in the band. But when they get up there and play them instruments, she says that she has felt, and she has spoken to other members of the band, and they all feel this way, that when they achieve this harmony through music, all of that shit just dissolves. All of those hindrances and distractions and just muck and nastiness, all of it dissolves because they're all working towards what she says is like the feeling of what she can think would be God. She's like, this is the only time that I feel what people say God should feel like is when this harmony takes place and we hear it on a different level than the people in the seats. So it's beautiful. It's the most perfect thing that can exist to her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's amazing. When you're a part of like a fucking 50-piece band, 50-piece orchestra, and every single person is in absolute synchronicity.
Yes. Yeah. It's exciting.
That's fucking crazy.
I would say that's how it feels when I'm on stage, and like when you've rehearsed with the band and you completely trust their ability, and if I'm gonna say if like when I'm prepared as an artist and like completely trust the band, then I can go on stage and be free. Like that's how I would say I felt. Like everybody's been asking me like, how was it opening for Lupe and Talib? And I'm like, it was amazing because
it was Lupe and Talib quality.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So Vibe Riot, based in or originally from Charlottesville. I joined the band. This is my roommate's band. And he had just earlier in the year asked me to, start doing background vocals for him. And then I found myself a part of the band, which has been amazing. And I mean, the musicians in that band, they're really highly skilled. I say that with full confidence. So
it must have been to open for Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah.
Like I'm certain that it can't just be any old body.
No. So
that motherfucker's serious. I watched some videos on YouTube. He has courses at it's like Harvard or Stanford. I forget which one it is. One of those Ivy League schools, I believe.
Yeah.
But he teaches like music theory. I watched one of his classes. Like I would watch like a fucking 50-minute video or an hour-long video and just like listen to him talk. Because I was like, how is he going to teach this? Like, no, because it wasn't even music theory. I think it was rap theory. Like it was specifically rap theory.
I saw a clip of that.
I was like, how is he going to teach this? I've never seen this before. Like, how is he going to? I was like, first of all, probably no one better to do it. Right? If you were like a Lupe fan and you grew up listening to his music and realized the things that he would do with words and it was insane. Absolutely insane. Because the same year Graduation came out, The Cool came out as well.
Yes.
And I would just go back and forth between listening to those two albums. And I was like, I don't know which one is better. Like, these are fucking amazing. And The Cool was like twice as long, too. Yeah. Such a good album. Such a good concept album, too. I remember being in love with like the concept of The Cool, like this thing that just moved around and wanted to literally just be the coolest thing on earth and was like willing to do whatever in order to get there, and just showing the traps, the falls that people that want to be the coolest kind of fall into in life.
Yeah.
It's a very, very interesting concept album, but stellar rapping on it. Absolutely. I'm just thinking of the songs right now. Superstar, Dumb It Down is on there. Go Gadget Flow. I got my go Gadget Flows on there.
Man, when he did that, I was like,
there's all sorts of shit on
I hadn't listened to The Cool in probably a couple of years. And when for Talib's set, we went first and then Talib and then Lupe. So for Talib Kweli's set, I went out into the theater and watched it from the balcony from our section. And for Lupe's set, I came back to the backstage area and I watched Lupe's set, like literally the whole set from backstage, and it was fucking amazing. And when he played Go Gadget, I was like, childhood memories unlocked.
That's crazy for sure.
I was like, I had forgot about this song. It was amazing.
Every once in a while, I'll go back and listen to that album. But he's good. But yeah, man, I was like, damn, he's teaching rap theory. I'm like, how is he going to teach this? Like, how is he going to teach like how to give a good setup, punchline, like when to not do that and to just rap, just off the strength of how you feel, like all these different things. I'm like, man, how is he going to teach that? Because I don't think that rap theory has, to my knowledge, ever been done in higher learning.
Right, yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
That is.
Just imagine going into class and there's Lupe at the front. It's like, nigga, what are you doing here? Fucking teaching. What you mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Funny stories.
We gotta get you that podcast.
God.
You sound good. You sound like you're like very fluid and just like comfortable. So
well, you made it a very comfortable environment.
So just imagine if it was your own environment.
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me? Think about how comfortable you'd feel in there.
I have let this podcast thing go. I'm trying to finish.
Oh, you did? Okay, you're right. You're doing too much. You're right.
I'm in 2 bands. I have a whole...
You're right. That's my fault.
I have 2 careers. I have the 9-to-5 career.
Yes.
And then I have my music career. I'm in 2 bands.
You know, you right. No, you right.
I'm an auntie to all them
I put
children.
my foot in my mouth. I shouldn't. Yeah, you right. You gotta be an auntie to Keion. Keion still needs some help. Keion can always use some help. I love that guy.
I am still responsible. He is my. He
had so much fun at that cookout.
Yeah.
He had so much. I could just see it. I could see it in him. And then RJ, my big old friend that came over, I was gone by this point, but he came over and he had taken some videos of Keion, which were hilarious. Him just dancing in the middle of everyone. He had such a great time. He was lit. Mm-hmm. He was lit. I hit him with 2 surprises. Mm. So the first one was he's been talking about getting a bike for forever, but he don't fucking get the bike, right? He didn't want to spend that money on himself because he doesn't spend a bunch of money on himself. He doesn't. He's kind of like me in that sense. But if I want something that's going to be good for my health, I'll buy it. He didn't do this. And he had talked about it for years. Literally, I have documented a conversation with him on this very podcast probably a couple of years ago. He's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get a bike. Like, I ride this bike in my head and it feels so good. And then I think I just don't buy the bike because I keep riding it in my head. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds crazy. So I bought him a bike and I just sent it to his house. God. So the day before that party, he just got like just a box showed up at his house and I didn't put a note on it or none of that shit. So then, so then his lovely fiance like texted him while he was at work and was like, "Hey, did you buy a bike?" No, I think she was like, "Did you order something on Amazon?" He was like, "Nah, I don't order nothing." And she was like, well, someone sent you a bike." And he was like, "What are you talking?" She was like, "No, like a bicycle. Like someone sent you a bike." And he was like, I haven't told anyone that I want a bike except for Earl. And then he called me. He just called me and he was just looking at me like, just had this real curious look on his face. And he was like, "You sent something to my house?" And I was like, "Yeah, I sent something to your house." Then I told him I sent him a bike. He was real happy about it. And then... yeah, he like started crying and shit. Aww. And then we got off the phone and the party was the next day. I also did not tell him I was going to that party.
Oh my God.
He had no idea. He didn't think I was going to that party at all because I don't show up for a lot of things because I don't like going to a lot of fucking events. So I popped up there and then he saw me. He just walked up and he was like, 2 surprises.
Oh, I love that for him. Oh, Key.
I know, man.
I love you, Key.
Yeah, man.
Keebler Elf. That's my nephew. I love him. We don't talk often, but
Keebler Elf. I'm taking that one.
Yeah, that's what his older cousin called him. So
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy. So I'm really happy for him.
Okay, so you're right. Podcast off the table. I shouldn't have done that. But this EP, your music, that I do need to encourage. I do need to push. So every now and again, I'm just gonna text you. It's not gonna be too much. I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, where's it at? Hey, send me something. Send something my way. Hey, throw something online. Like, let me see something on Instagram. Like, give me a 30-second clip." You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna just, every now and again, I'm gonna just hit you up. I might just comment on something so everyone can see it. Hey, hey, I'm still here. Drop something.
Oh my God.
You just need a little encouragement because we need to hear those. I need to hear those stories.
Encouragement is not the thing.
I need to hear the stories.
But you can. I am open for encouragement. So I'm in the studio on Friday.
Okay.
And then I'm back in the studio next week at some point.
Very nice.
Back at the home studio. So it's coming.
All right.
Just, life be lifing.
Life does love. Life do be lifing. That's a fact. I think we talked about this. Hour 45. You got a long drive.
What? I'm going back to Manassas.
Oh, okay.
I'm staying with my parents this week.
Oh, okay. That's
the beauty of having a remote job. I love it.
Okay,
so I decided, since I had this, but I also had something I had yesterday. I can't remember now. My brain be. Like once I have checked something off of my list, like I don't remember it anymore. So like by tomorrow, I'll be like, what did I do yesterday? Like it's so sad. It's so sad. But I had like some doctor's appointments that I needed to take care of, and then I needed to go into the office for something. So that's why I was like, I know what I did yesterday. I had to record some vocals for the band, for my other band that's based here. So
what do you record vocals for?
So we're doing this like kind of promotional video that we're gonna submit to like agencies. So hopefully we'll become an agency band. So we'll get like more bookings that way. Yeah. And so it has to be like set up a certain way. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, little steps, little baby steps here and there, just doing it. I like it.
Yeah. So busy with and then also spending some family time at some point.
You gotta live.
I gotta live too.
Live.
As much as I work, I do have to live, and then I also have to take time for myself. And then, if the creative juices come along,
What's the last significant self-care thing you've done for yourself?
I went to the beach earlier this month. I took a solo day trip to Virginia Beach. I had my little...
That's nice. Little impromptu, like, let me just go hit the beach.
Yeah, exactly. So I took my little cooler, I put some snacks in there, some fresh fruit.
Put your bubbles in the car.
I did. I always keep bubbles in my car. I have bubbles right now. Actually, I bought a new bubble thing.
You have bubbles in this bag right here?
No.
I was going to say, you keep them on them like, you keep them on you. Okay,
I just have a lot of bubbles in the car.
Okay.
I had my little beach towel and stuff, and my little picnic blanket. So I set that up, and I took my little speaker. So as I'm blowing bubbles, like Beyonce is playing in the background. You got the vibe. Yeah, I had a vibe for myself. And then all the kids that are like around, they're like, "Oh my God, she has bubbles!" And I'm like, "Tell your mama to get you some." And they're like, "Can I try?" And sometimes I will let the kids, like if they're not leaving me alone, and they're like sweet about it. Yeah. But if they try to come up and grab, I'm like, no.
In that,
go to Target.
In that,
it's $5
is the epitome. That is directly correlative to the men sliding in your DMs. They come around, they shoot their shot, they do it respectfully. Maybe you can have a bubble or two. But if you don't, there are no bubbles for you here.
No bubbles.
That's hilarious.
So earlier in June, I was in, that pavilion in Old Town Manassas.
Yeah.
So I was blowing bubbles just outside of the pavilion.
With the ice skating rink.
Yeah, exactly. So I had just finished the show. I had did like some neighborhood event for a friend of mine. And I'm like, okay, I just had this huge, social event. I need to like do something to like recharge myself. So I start go to my car, get my bubbles. And I had just like had some coffee or something, maybe a tea. And I'm sitting there blowing the bubbles, and some guy sees me, and I see him walk, because I just like, I peep shit.
Yeah.
I see the guy get out of his car, and he walks in the other direction. And like, how it's just in your periphery. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And so like maybe 20 minutes later, I see him walking back, and then he comes over and he's like, "You got bubbles? Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, he's like, you're just blowing bubbles. I'm like, yeah, I'm just blowing bubbles, minding my own business. Like,
what are you doing, sir?
Can I help you?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
I was minding my own business. That's so. Well, how did that go? Like, once you said, "Yeah, I'm just blowing bubbles," he was like, "Cool."
No,
he wasn't like, "Can I?" He wasn't like, "Can I blow him with you?" He was just
that would have been a better thing.
Yeah, so he was just like, "All right, cool."
So he's already like, judging me, and I'm like, I don't need your judgment. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. I get it. I'm an adult in, you know, my mid-30s, and I'm blowing bubbles. But I'm like literally minding my business, doing something for myself. Like get you a hobby. Like,
it's so interesting how we do that. How, like, because you become an adult, you can no longer blow bubbles.
Right.
Like, it would be nothing to see an adult sitting at a park on the same bench you're sitting right beside you, just looking out, or maybe feeding pigeons, or reading a book, or listening to a podcast, or doing a lot of things, sitting down on a blanket, sleeping even. But you taking out a bubble wand and like blowing bubbles, it's all of a sudden just like, what the fuck are you doing, ma'am? You out here blowing bubbles? What the? That's very weird that we do that to each other. We should. Hey, let that woman blow them bubbles.
Yeah, exactly.
And let all the people like to do what they do what they do.
Exactly.
As long as they're not hurting anybody.
Exactly.
Let them go do their thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let people forget how to be children.
Yeah. I'm a big kid at heart. Yeah, that has never changed.
People forget how to just let loose, have fun. Forget about what everyone else is thinking or saying about them. That's the big one. That's a very, very tough one.
Once you let go of people's opinions and people's projections, it's a free world. Like, there's so much liberation there.
Yes. If there's anything that anyone gets from this podcast, it ought to be that. There's such a liberation after this. You're like, oh my gosh, that was the only thing that was holding me back.
Yes.
I can
holding you back from true joy.
Wow. I can't believe I used to care about, like, if I walked out of the house just wearing flip-flops. I would have never did that in the past. I would have thought that was just like the corniest thing ever to walk out of the house flip-flops. I was all in Target today with flip-flops on.
And who told you that was corny?
My stupid ass. It's really just if the people around you are not doing it, you know, and then every once in a while, maybe they see somebody with some shoes on that they don't approve of. And it just, you know, that's where the whole, what are those trend comes from, you know what I mean? And shit like that. And when you're a kid and you're insecure and you don't know shit about shit, you get wrapped up in that for a bit. You gotta, but you gotta get older and gain confidence and break out of that and look around and realize it's your life. Live it.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot. It takes a lot. Yeah. It takes a lot of stories.
Yeah, so like 20 minutes later, he asked me for my number.
Okay. So it took him some time.
After he tried to preach the gospel to me, I was like, "So you bothered me. You came you went out of your way to judge me about my bubbles. You want to talk to me. You want to preach the gospel to me." And then when I'm like,
and when you say that, you mean the actual gospel, like he's trying to. Okay,
he's got the Jesus shirt on, and I'm like, and I'm like respectfully like, I don't really do religion. Like I have my own relationship with God. Like I'm more spiritual out. Like organized religion is not for me. Like no. And he's like, why is that? And I'm like, I'm not gonna debate with you. I'm sitting here trying to have peace. Like I'm not about to allow you to disrupt my peace because you want to talk to me when like I'm over here trying to have, my happy moment being grounded because you don't know how my day has been. I had an amazing day. I had a great performance that day, and now I want to be left alone. Right. And you're disturbing that.
Right.
And you want to talk about that? No. Yeah. But then after that, you want to ask me for my number. No, sir. It's a no.
Yeah.
It was, and I mean, and not even just that. You know how some people just like, they just lack depth. Like they lack their own personality. And I just felt like he was the type of person that his personality was based in religion. It's like because he was not a free thinker. And I was like, as an artist,
that's the thing that they need to know going into a relationship with you. That's the thing.
Okay, maybe.
That's the thing, is that you're a free thinker. Yeah, they're maybe. Just because if they're not, right, well, one, it may not even work. But if they are and they can, learn and adapt mindfully, something could happen.
Yeah.
But they're gonna need to know that you're a free thinker, and that comes with, because the thing is, it's not just a religion thing. Your free thinking means that possibly a lot of moments that they run into with you, they're going to see you do something differently or react differently, navigate differently than they've seen other people. And they're going to have to be like, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? And then that's up to you if you want to have those conversations and do all of that. I know patience starts wearing thin the older we get. Maybe you don't want to have all them conversations. You're like, nah, you need to be of this understanding already. Like I'm not teaching you anything. Like I'm not giving you lessons.
I learned that I can't. I personally, I don't do surface level conversations very well. Like I have a reserve for the surface level. Like you get a good maybe 5 minutes of, oh, the weather was really good. Oh, I tried, this restaurant that was really delicious. Like you get about a good 5 minutes. After that, like
what are you trying to get to? Like what do you think you're trying to get to? Like if it was up to you.
I don't know, but it has to progress naturally somewhere. Like I think, like if we're not talking about, how many stars are in the sky, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not talking about the meaning of life in 10 minutes. Like what are we talking about? I don't know. If we're not talking about like a real problem and something that's happening now, or exploring why, Edgar Allan Poe, wrote about a raven. Like, I need to talk about that stuff. If we're not, then you can quietly exit stage right and leave me to my thoughts. Otherwise,
and your bubbles, the bubbles are much more stimulating.
They are than a lot of guys.
Damn, that's so. Oh, geez, to lose a battle to a fucking case of bubbles, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I hope the best for everybody. I'm so glad that you're having fun. I'm so glad that we came together, because aside from seeing you at Keion's Cookout, I hadn't seen you in a decade and a half. Who knows? I don't know when the last time I saw you. And we locked eyes and acknowledged each other as two human beings. I had to have been a child.
It had to have been, because I feel like you were this kind of a ghost presence in high school, because Keion would always be like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with Ryan, or I'm gonna hang out with Earl, and I'd be like, who is Earl? And then he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with Earl, and then I saw you maybe once or twice, and I'm like, okay, that's Earl, but y'all were gone.
That would make sense.
You guys were gone.
That would make sense.
I didn't see you. I might have seen you in passing, but also I was a little mean. I was a little mean to my nephew, especially when we were in middle school, because Keion would try to intentionally embarrass me by yelling in the hallway. And that's how they had the two opposite hallways. Yeah. And then I could be coming from gym or something, and here goes Keion in the hallway. Hey, family, and I'd be like, Keion,
oh, you ain't like that?
Keion,
I knew some people like that. I've had both of them on the podcast.
But he did it on purpose. He knew. I'd be like, everybody don't need to know that.
Oh, but why you were embarrassed? Because you ain't. Well, you was
13.
You was like
Keion, 12, 14.
Listen, people can't know that we. Because
by high school, I was not. I was like, that's my nephew, and I was like, I was also very protective of my nephew. You ain't talking to my nephew. Don't talk shit about my nephew. I was really protective. I'm still very protective over my nieces and nephews, even though they're adults. Some of them are adults.
Well, Keion and I got much closer, because a lot of the ghost presence of mine may have been because we were just running around playing basketball, whatever the fuck, when we did see each other. But a lot of it was definitely that. We had peaks and valleys of the relationship. We weren't always hanging out, you know what I mean? There were times where he was hanging out with a bunch of fuckboys, you know what I mean, and running around with them and getting in trouble with them, and realizing he needed to just come back to some more wholesome people. He ran into that a couple of times.
I think we both had that phase,
and so we all do to some degree, right?
Yeah, right. We do.
Yeah. I've definitely been
growing up.
I've been around so many people I had no fucking business being around, but I wouldn't take it away for the world. Not now.
I would never go back.
Oh, nah.
Lived a life.
Yeah, I've lived it and I fucking love it. So,
Lived a life.
but yeah, so we weren't always there. We got together much more after high school. And then in particular, when we lived together 2014 for like 2 years, before we had moved out and moved in with Antoinette. But then when we started doing the podcast in 2020.
Okay.
And then we started having conversations weekly, like a lot of conversations, and we were just having conversations we never had before, and we started growing a bond and learning so much about
beautiful.
each other. It was cool. We actually spoke about this moment. It was very weird because it was like fucking a year or two ago. So it was probably last year. So I'm 31, maybe it was 2 years. I don't know. I'm really bad with time. But either way, it's in the last 2 years. Him and I are having a conversation, and he's talking about how he doesn't want to have the relationship with Jacory that he has with his biological father, right? And he's talking about that. And you know, he becomes emotional and he starts crying because he's just like, I can't let that happen. Like, I don't want that to happen. And I'm just like, nigga, you're going to be fine. It's not going to happen. Right. Yeah. But I also understand where you're coming from.
Right. Yeah.
And we shut the podcast down because he was overwhelmed with emotions. And then we got up and I was like, hey man, I love you. Come here. And we hugged.
Aww,
now,
I love that. That's so beautiful.
But that was the first time we ever had said that we loved each other and hugged in our entire lives.
Wow.
And that happened in the past 2 years. And then now, ever since then, every time I see him, we hug. We just go straight for a hug.
That.
It was very fascinating.
He needs that.
It was a huge moment of healing and bonding for us. It was very, very cool.
He needed that.
So,
I love that for him.
But ultimately, because I keep getting off of this, I just want to say I'm very, very thankful that you came here with all of your elegance and class and comedy and entertainment and all these different layers to you. It's been very, very fun experiencing you.
I have another story if you want to hear it.
Fuck yeah. Just for the fact that you're willing to just drop something like this, I want to hear it.
Okay, so I got yelled at by Lupe Fiasco. Let me start with the.
Like I said, you can't just be on anybody. You better be on point. What'd you do?
Oh my God!
What'd you do?
All right, so let me start here. So after the Vibe Riot set, like we killed it. Like it was the like best performance I've ever done in my life. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
Like I was completely like elated on stage, and like even when I got off stage. So after our set, we go. So the green room the green room area is under the backstage area. So we go downstairs to the green room. Talib Kweli comes in, and some of the musicians in the band are like, oh, let's go dap up, Talib Kweli, take a group picture or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not starstruck, but I'm also kind of like, oh, it's Talib Kweli.
That is Talib.
Like it is Talib Kweli. I mean, and at this point, I know like 2 songs, so I can't completely like fan out and be like, I'm like, oh, I'm like that is him, but I'm also trying to be like respectful of his space, so everybody's like hugging him, whatever. And I didn't do that. We were walking out, and I was like, bye Talib, good luck tonight. I know you're gonna kill it. And then so he goes, all right, thank you, appreciate it, whatever. So I go to the theater, watch Talib Kweli's set, which is amazing, by the way. And like he's starting to do songs, and I'm like, memories unlocked. Oh, I do know this song. I do know this song. Whatever. The end of his set, which I didn't realize was the end of his set, I go back around the building, go back to the green area, and I'm a complete goofball. Because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that to him, whatever. Like, I'm so stupid. But I'm also just very much myself. Like, I am a big kid. So I go back to the backstage area, or the green room, and I'm like skipping in the hall, and I'm like, just to get by. Talib has finished his set, and he's in the green room. Okay. All right.
I see no issue so far.
There's really no issue. And I'm like, oh, great job. I was like, can I have a hug? And he's like, I'm a bit sweaty right now, but after I like clean myself up, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So I go back I go back upstairs to the backstage area. Lupe is about to get on. And like just before I went back upstairs, I was trying to call my nephew, my little nephew, Logan. I call him my nephew hyphen son. My nephew's son. Logan's not available. He's with the family. They went down to Southern Virginia. So I'm like, oh, my nephew didn't answer. And then like the girl in the band, I was like hanging out with her backstage, and I'm like, she's like, Lupe's about to go on. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not bothering him. I'm over here talking to y'all. Whatever. They call Lupe out. We're in the backstage area. I'm trying to get like footage of him because I'm like, yo, this is Lupe Fiasco. Like, I know more of his catalog, and I'm like really excited, but I'm also like, distanced because he's about to go on. Like, I know that, like, trying to get your mind right before going on stage. He goes on. We're backstage. I'm trying to get footage of him, like trying to be like really like not seen, trying to be, inconspicuous as possible. But I'm like, nobody's going to like notice me because everybody's focused on him now. So I like kind of squat in this corner. And at that time, Talib Kweli comes to the backstage area, and he goes behind the sound man's table. And so I'm squatting down, trying to get this video. And there's like these two, I'm trying like not to be a problem. There's these two mic stands in my way. Talib moves the mic stands out of my way. And like, there's this case, and there's like a cord on it. He moves it, and he's like, sit right there. And I'm like, Talib Kweli says, this is my inner monologue. Talib Kweli says, sit right there. I'm gonna sit right there. Okay, cool. Whatever. So I'm recording the video, and this, like, I pretty much watched the whole show from this spot. Like a few minutes later, Talib Kweli, he comes back over, and there's another mic stand that he moves out of my way. So now I have complete like open space to take this video. And he's like just talking to me, and like Lupe makes a comment about prescription sunglasses, and I'm like, yeah, I have prescription sunglasses too. And he's like, we all of y'all wear glasses on stage? And we're like, yeah. And we're just kind of like laughing about it, whatever. And so later he's like, I'm leaving, it's like, pleasure to meet you, whatever. And then an hour after Talib leaves, Lupe calls for the sound man for his mic stand. So I'm like, oh, where did he put the mic stand? Like, it's really not my problem, but I'm like, I'm sitting in the spot where it was. Okay. The sound man brings out the mic stand. He's like, hey, my man, what you doing? That's the wrong one. And so I'm like, oh shit, let me move out of the way. As I get up, I walk into the stage manager, bump him. Lupe is looking back, watching for the mic stand. He's like, looking dead at us. I bump into the man trying to bring him the second mic stand. He's like, girl, if you don't get your ass out the way. Whole time, nobody can see me, but I'm like, I'm trying to get out the way. I'm like embarrassed. Yeah, so that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole time it wasn't my fault. It was his friend, because they friends in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
And that he moved,
and he just moved stuff out the way
for me.
Yeah, well, I think often, even when it's something like that, it's much bigger in our eyes than it is his. Like for Lupe,
I wasn't completely embarrassed. I was more shocked that it happened, and it was so funny to me. I was like, oh my god! It's not
like Lupe. Like later on in the night, he's like, man, I can't believe that motherfucker was over there just getting in the way. Like he's not thinking about that shit. But I do also understand being around someone that you admire and then feeling like you kind of,
I don't feel like I dropped the ball.
Good.
I don't feel that way at all. I was like, this is his friend's fault. I was like, talk to your friend. Talk to your friend.
Good. As long as you still feel good about that whole experience. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, we took a picture with him afterwards and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. He just gave you a quick, girl, if you don't get your ass out the way.
Yeah, it was so funny. And then when I talked to people,
he's in performance mode.
Yes, And when I talked to people that I knew after the fact, they were like, "Oh, that was you," and they were laughing. It was great. It was the best thing. So that's how Talib Kweli became my homie. So we best friends now.
Of course, and I'll expect you on the next album. He always does usually have like some really nice soulful singing person on there. Like I'm thinking a song called Daydreaming right now with Jill Scott. Beautiful song. But yeah, he Sarah Green, he has on some, he keeps them around for sure. Some nice soulful like jazz singers or something like that in the back.
Yeah, he was really chill. It was fun kicking it with him. I mean,
he seems like he would be a live music type of guy. Like he would incorporate a lot of different instruments. Yeah. Well,
for this set, he just had the DJ, but he was as cool as a fan. Like,
you know what? I know what I need from you. I need one of those like NPR tiny desk type of moments of yours. That's what I need. Like one of those real intimate ones.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm thinking that I need. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just you and like two instruments. Two or three instruments. In your voice.
I can make that happen.
Yeah, something like that.
I can make that happen.
You got a fan now. Like I'm just gonna every now and again I'm just gonna check in on you. That's all I'm saying. It's not gonna be aggressive. I'm just gonna check in on you.
When's the album coming?
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to finish it by the end of this year. I think I can if I really put my mind to it, I can really finish it like in the next month, but we'll see. I don't want to set that.
Put that pressure on yourself.
I don't. Yeah. Because what will happen is somebody will call and be like, "Hey, I need you to come do this, be a feature at this open mic event, or can you sing at this thing?" And then So I mean, it's not a bad problem to have. It's not even a problem. It's just, opportunities come and things get reprioritized, and then you have to also worry about like timing and
that's the best. It's probably one of the best problems to have.
Right? Yes, because I worked really hard for this.
Yeah.
To be where I am, I worked really, really hard. So I'm thankful. I have a lot of really good people behind me. Shout out to Nikki McMullen, my vocal coach and mentor. Shout out to my brother, Jaywar Vibe Riot. Okay.
I love
so many people supporting the family, all my cousins, my dream team, Byron Wimbush, my cousin's a photographer, and my stylist, Lakeisha Green of House of Layla Monet, based out of Richmond.
So you got a stylist?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, she styled me for some photo shoots. She's a designer based in Richmond. She was just named fashion icon of Richmond City, so I'm really proud of her. So.
Did she go to VCU? No. Oh, okay.
Interesting. So I got a lot of cool people in my corner.
I appreciate that, and you're like clearly just a very exuberantly like beautiful human, like wonderful person, like pleasant human.
Thank you.
And I just think that things work out for those people. People gravitate towards you. Every once in a while they want you to stand next to them at a party for 5 hours, but they do gravitate towards you, and I just think you just have to keep doing what you're doing.
I will say my character has definitely opened more doors for me than talent. Like I get in the room and then people are like, "Oh,
yeah."
They're like, "Oh, you really do this," and I'm like one of the things Talib had asked me when we were backstage. He was like, because he had got there after the Vibe Right set, and he's like, "So what do? You sing?" And I was like, "I sing a little bit." And he looked at me. He's like, "You sing?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, like I wonder how many people he's had that conversation with, and all the people that can tell. They're just like, "Oh yeah, I sing," and he's just probably just like, "I got it." Like maybe, sure. But then he's seen the ones that just like, "Oh, I do a little bit," and he's just like, what about you though? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Those people, knows? They just read a little different.
Yeah,
it's like the energy people give off. You can't duplicate that.
Yeah.
Like you can't fake that.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone's reading just good energy off you, they just see you can't.
That's that inner work.
You can't. Yeah, you can't fake that. You can't. you could say a lot of things. We all know the English language here, right? So I know the words that you know words I know. We can both say the same things, but a way of being, you can't just fake that. I mean, you can do it. I know people fake it till you make it, right?
And they sound
there's something in that. And you sound a little crazy until you make it. But it's an aspiration.
But do they?
Well, no, not always. No, some people do though. No, but I didn't mean that to be like everyone that tries it does it. No, absolutely not. But yeah, it's infectious. It's something that is like, it's so valuable because it's hard to touch. It's hard to quantify. It's so weird to just know, like, just certain people, like, I just feel good around you, you know? And I think that takes us a very long way.
Yeah. That's the kind of spirit of my mom.
Oh, yeah?
That's my mom's love. Yeah.
Man, my dad's kind of like that. He just wants to enjoy his life. Like, at all costs, he's willing to enjoy his life. That's what he's trying to do.
That's good.
He's done a lot of great things to do it, too. Like, I'm proud of that guy, just getting older and continuing to still find new ways of unlocking more beauty and more motivation, more meaning in life and the things that you do and your role in it. It's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna wrap this up.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate I love doing this. This is some of my, I don't know if I got a favorite way of doing it. Because the people that I speak with more often, it's fun because we have a rapport, right? And there's all this story. But then there's something so refreshing about it just being someone I haven't spoken to really ever is a good way to put it. Like a real conversation ever. Truly.
Yeah.
And
that's wild.
It is.
That is so wild.
It is so much fun. And then here we are the very first time we're just here in this room, for how long do you think we've been doing this?
Hour and a half, maybe.
2 hours, 15 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it happens like that.
Wow.
Yeah, no, you just kind of get sucked into the podcast. Yeah. But yeah, this has been so much fun. And I will have to also ask you to come back at some point in time.
Oh my God.
We have to do a follow-up at some point in time. Absolutely.
After the...
There's no rush. It could be a year from now. It doesn't matter. I just, you know what I mean? Well, I just want to put that energy out there also into the ether. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank everybody for listening. Peace.